you face the boss of blades.
Hello, Planeswalkers. Today we are discussing the Undefeated Appraiser deck that managed to go 14-0 in the recent Historic Challenge. So it is running the 4 Geological Appraisers here, and then it either goes into Glasspool Mimic or Eldritch Evolution Guaranteed. By switching from a Explorer format to the Historic format, you get to play this new card, Pantlanza Sunfavored, which is normally a commander card, but they decided to add commander cards to the Historic format. So by being able to run Pantlanza Sunfavored, you will now have 12 starts for the Cascade combos with either Trumpeting Carnosaur, the Pantlanza Sunfavored, or the Geological Appraiser. Then, of course, you Appraiser, you hit a Mimic. Okay, well, you do another Appraiser. So you eventually hit an Eldritch Evolution. That will let you go into the Trumpeting Carnosaur, which will either get any of the remainder until you get a bunch of Carnosaurs out. And if you have a bunch in hand, you could Evolution and sacrifice to get a Cultist Stampede Tyrant to put the in-hand creatures into play. And then on your fourth Eldritch Evolution, you grab Doomscar Titan, who, since he costs 6, you will never wind up revealing him off of Carnosaur or anything else. You get to run Elemental Masterpiece and Creative Outburst and Magma Opus to make the combo as early as turn 3. By being able to make a treasure, then there is a small amount of interaction main deck with 2 copies of Bedeck/Bedazzle. Since the overall cost of the card is 8, you are able to cast the card and will never be hit with a Discover unless that Discover is 8 or greater. So you get to run the Bedeck to be able to target a creature and give it -3/+3, dealing essentially able to deal with a lot of the early game stuff in the format, including an opposing Geological Appraiser. Since everything in the deck does cost more than 3, you can run Kruger the Macro Sage as a companion with 0 drawback, and that's a pretty interesting add. The thing is, though, at least in best of 1, it's very obvious which deck you are playing if your opponent sees Kruger the Macro Sage. Now, the deck also plays 2 Adawara Soaring City to be able to interact with the opponent a little bit, 2 Mountains, Boseiju Who Endures in order to deal with some artifacts and stuff, 1 Blightstep Pathway, 4 Crag Crown Pathway, 4 Rockvale Vale, 1 Stomping Grounds, 3 Needle Verge Pathway, 4 Forsaken Crossroads to always be able to scry, and also you could use it to get the mana immediately, but most of the time you are just going to use it for the scry. And then 4 Mana Confluence to make sure you have the mana to cast everything that you do want to cast. Since this deck was played in the best of 3 formats, there is a sideboard. So there is 2 Sheoldred's decks, 2 more Sheoldred's decks, so a total of 4 Sheoldred's decks, 1 Thought Distortion, Sheoldred's decks, essentially making the deck into like a control deck, where you're able to guarantee getting one of the Sheoldred's decks or an Eldritch Evolution, I suppose, so that you can make your opponent sacrifice one of their creatures that could be stopping you from playing the game, such as a Rule of Law effect or Strict Proctor. Then we have the 1 Thought Distortion to make your opponent lose in exile any non-creature and non-land cards from their hand and graveyard, and it cannot be countered, so it's pretty effective at stopping a control deck from being able to prevent you from winning the game. Then we have 1 Sarah's Emissary as a fallout to your opponent playing a creature deck that is maybe a little bit fast, so instead of going for a direct OTK as early as possible, you could just try and get like a turn 5 Sarah's Emissary out just by a normal play, or even Eldritch Evolutioning a Pantlanza into one, which is another thing that you're able to do in this format that you would not normally be able to do, is Pantlanza into a Sarah's Emissary in this case. Then we have 3 expansion explosions. Since they are mana cost 6, you will never hit them off your discover. And the main thing you're trying to do here is to copy an instant or sorcery with mana value 4 or less. So what this will let you do, if your opponent was able to counter your Eldritch Evolution, you would be able to use expansion to then copy your Eldritch Evolution and then continue the chain, since it will remember what the cost was, sacrifice creatures cost for Eldritch Evolution, and then you can continue on comboing off. Then we have another alternate in Back to Nature. Back to Nature is an instant that destroys all enchantments, so it's good against stuff like the decks that just prevent all damage using 9 lives or Phyrexian Unlife, but that is probably very matchup specific. Then we have the other 2 copies of Bedazzle to be able to deal with aggro decks and wizards a little bit more in case they need some more interaction. And then we have 2 Boseiju Who Endures for a little bit more interaction for artifact and enchantments, and it's just a very close to uncounterable way for a Solemnity opponent to be able to deal with it. And that is essentially the deck that people have been playing using Appraiser, and absolutely insane 14-0 win that this player did. I do not know their name. It was something Japanese. So the build that I am using, I don't have all of the lands exactly, but the main deck I'm running is very close, but I have adapted it for the best of 1 meta for being able to have a little bit more interaction, and I will show you that one now. So the build that I am running is also Appraiser build. It still has the Geological Appraisers, it still has the Pantlanzas, but we're only running 3 copies, and then for Trumpeting Carnosaurs, still have the Glassfuls and the Eldritch, and the Magma Opus and the Creative Outbursts. I am not running Elemental Masteries because I made room for some more copies of Bedak and also Consign Oblivion. Consign Oblivion is a tech that some players have been using in the Pioneer format, and the ability to just bounce anything that's not a land could be very effective for dealing with things that your opponent can do. Now, you could also run the Turtle and its channel ability, which makes it very hard to counter, but that only hits creatures, whereas Consign can hit just about everything. Now, it felt weird that they were not playing Sokensen, but they're running Mountains, so we added Sokensen mainly because we do not have a second copy of Otawara currently on our collection. We're also running a copy of Fiery Islet in order to fit more blue sources for our Consign. And I also only have 2 Forsaken Crossroads. I definitely need to get on getting 2 more copies because they make your mana a lot better. So now we're going to go ahead and play some games using this list that I have built. Alright, let's go ahead and play a game using this Appraiser deck. We have 1 evolution in hand. We have enough lands to do stuff, so as long as they don't just kill us early, we should be good. Starting with the Glasspool Shore. Alright, they are on black, but they're running mill, it looks like. Interesting. And we are just going to put it on Crag Crown and pass back. Hitting us for 1. And unfortunately, we hit yet another Eldritch Evolutions. That is annoying, because that's going to make going for combo very difficult. But we are going to go for it. Geological Appraiser, auto pay. Eldritch Evolution, sacrifice the creature. And then it looks like our opponent's not really going to be able to stop us. So we go for the Trumpeting Carnosaur, which gives us another Geological Appraiser, which gives us a Glass Pool Mimic. Then we're going to target the Carnosaur to get another one. Then we get another Geological Appraiser, which gives us another Glass Pool Mimic. To target another Trumpeting Carnosaur, to give us another Glass Pool Mimic. So we've hit a lot of the mimics, I think, so far. We get the fourth Geological Appraiser. And, I mean, we don't really need to go any deeper than this. We have more than enough on board to just take out our opponent by getting the Doomscar Titan here. And then we give everything haste, and yeah, good game. That's how she do it. So most matchups basically either go like that, either our opponent will try and stop us, but in our case we had multiple Lanzas in hand, so we could have just tried to send them out to continue the chain of trying to do it until our opponent does stop us. But we did take a risk because they did have 2 open mana, but they just didn't have anything there. So that is going to do it for this video. If you like this content, go ahead and give this a like. If you'd like to vent about how broken this is or anything else in the comments, feel free to leave a comment. If you'd like to see more content like this, please give it a subscribe. And thank you, Slingers and Planeswalkers, signing off. Boss of Blades.